Hello, how's everybody? Today I'm gonna do this YouTube is gonna be on vegan, on the misconception of being a vegan. My standpoint, because I know there's many vegans. I mean not as much as vegetarians, but there are a lot of vegans and it's growing also. But yes, I mean I was at work the other day and this is what gave me the idea of doing YouTube on being a vegan, and the misconceptions is that someone wanted to. I'm not gonna say. I don't want to draw the person out, whoever it is, but it was really nice. Not really a big deal, but anyway, they wanted to make me something because at work I don't. I can't eat a lot of things that they eat, and everybody eats things that vegans don't eat. Okay, and this person made me something. Okay, but that's what gave me the idea. It's just that certain people, it has been done for me in the past. Is that people make things for me, and of course I appreciate it, but it's kind of funny because they get the wrong concept of what a vegan is, okay? And that's why what gave me an idea of doing this video, doing this YouTube. So it's the misconceptions of being a vegan, and it's my viewpoint. First of all, most people think that it's just vegetables. As soon as you say vegan, they think that you just eat vegetables and that's it. And that's far, far, far from the truth. Because I remember when I became a vegan, I kind of like just ate vegetables, a lot of vegetables and salads, but that just stopped abruptly when I started studying. So first of all, I want to get into how I became, before I was a vegan, because I don't want to touch the other videos, because I have other videos on being a vegan. And I don't like saying the same thing over and over again in videos if you can see it on another video. So this one is different because it's the misconception of vegans, but I want to explain to you how I was before I was a vegan. So I was in their category, not knowing. First of all, I remember when I was in Florida, there was this one girl at a restaurant that I was going to school down there, Miami-Dade Community College, and I met this girl. They have beautiful restaurants, but you eat a lot of times outside. Okay, very nice. It used to be like that. I don't know if it still is, but I started talking to her, and she was a vegan, and she was just too way out. I mean, like, it was just too much. And I went over to her house, and I remember she had like music as far as vegan, not being a vegan, like, don't eat hamburgers, rock and roll music saying don't eat hamburgers and all this other stuff. Some of the things were kind of violent, and it seemed kind of like violent, you know what I mean? And I liked her, but I could not get any. I just, put up with how she felt about things, but I didn't feel really like comfortable, So that's one person that before I was a vegan, which gave me an idea of what a vegan was, which I didn't really like. But I accepted. I listened to everything that she said. And another one was when I was in New York. I had this friend. I was helping him write music. He wanted to learn how to write music, and I was teaching him how to write music. And he was a vegan, and one time he said he had to go to a vegan restaurant, and we went to a vegan restaurant, and I remember going into I kind of said this in another video, but I'm doing it in a different perspective now. And he goes, and we went into the restaurant, and I remember how I felt. I felt like, like I didn't want to be there, It was like really, really like kind of gross. You know, that's just how I felt. Then I remember being in Denver. Okay, this is, going closer to now, this time now. And where I was working, there was a girl who was a vegetarian. And I remember she ate things that were off the count. I mean, that the chef would make. But some reason I thought it was just so gross. So I kind of understand as far how, how you feel about vegans. It just seemed like it was really gross. And that's the time I'm coming closer to being vegan. And like I said, if you if you've been through some of my videos, you know that I went to college late, and I was in Denver again. And in this classroom, this guy said, I don't know how it ended up, but it was in a linguistics class, and he wanted to show this video on killing a cow. And I go, if you kill a cow, I don't want to see it. I'll stand outside. I don't like things like that. And he said, well, do you eat hamburgers? I mean, do you eat? Are you a vegan? I said, no, I'm not vegan, but I just buy the meat and I just eat it. I don't think about it. So I remember that time, and then after that, around that time, what happened to me, and like I said, I'm talking about what happened to me, how I viewed things before I became a vegan. So one of my reasons, not all the reasons, one of the reasons, not like major reasons, but one of the reasons was when I would eat meat, I noticed that I didn't feel my stomach, and after I ate, I wanted to go to sleep. And I was studying because I was like finishing up my senior year, and I had to study a lot, and I wanted to go to law school also, so I was studying all the time. But I noticed when I didn't eat meat, I would keep studying. I didn't get like lax. But when I ate meat, I would get I wouldn't feel my stomach, and it just didn't have that comfort. I just wanted to relax. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to change my diet, was because of studying. Another reason was the fact that I was a binge eater. Okay, what I mean by binge eater, it wasn't chronic really, but like if I ate ice cream, I would if I liked this ice cream, I would want to eat more and more and more. So like every day I wanted to eat ice cream. I had cheese doodles. The cheese doodles, I love those. I could go through a whole bag of cheese doodles, and then that would leave me constipated, which I didn't like. But I'll be working, and then I'd be constipated, and I just hated that feeling. You know what I mean? Things like that, because of my binge eating. I mean, I would like something and I would eat it, that one thing, and then I would get just constipated, or I wouldn't feel good. So I didn't really have a diet because I didn't really study anything about diet. So anyway, it's coming closer to me being a vegan. And I think the major thing was I was eating a hamburger, and I was studying and everything. And I remember I didn't feel my stomach. And it was I wonder why I don't feel my stomach, after I eat, And I think from now, I guess it's because it's just so much. I don't know. I'm not going to say why. But anyway, I decided to become, I think, a vegetarian first, okay? So I started eating first I think I started eating some kind of fish. I mean, not very much vegetarian, but I was eating salmon, and then I would eat a salad and stuff like that, and eggs and stuff like that. But that didn't last too long, because then I just stopped eating salmon, and then I stopped eating eggs. Okay, so I was more like a vegetarian or something. but I wasn't satisfied. I don't know why I changed so abruptly these things. But then I wanted to be a vegan. Oh, the reason why I wanted to be a vegan so much because I noticed that I didn't, and there was people at work that could explain things to me because I didn't know anything about vegan or anything. So that's probably helped me out too. And they said, well, if you want to be a vegan, I'm sure somebody told me, you don't eat milk, you don't eat eggs, you don't eat, dairy. And I noticed that I didn't like dairy anyway. I never liked milk. I never liked cheese. So I said, why don't I just become a vegan because I don't like those things. But I would eat salads, but I didn't feel well. I didn't feel like I was satisfied. So I went to the bookstore and I got a book. Juliana Heber is very good because she's a nutritionist. I looked through all these books and the only one I found that I wanted to read was Juliana Heber, Whole Food Plant-Based Diet. And I looked in it and I just wanted to make sure that she didn't eat any meat. And it was no meat. Then I got into the first chapter and it was like, yes, you have to know what you're doing, So I was studying, so then I added that to my list of all the things I was doing, and I was working full time. So I had to learn about being not a whole food plant-based. Okay, so that's what I was, and I was telling everybody because I studied the most important chapters, I think up to 5. Okay, didn't start talking about other things, but up to chapter 5, they told me everything I wanted to know. But I had to learn, okay? And that's one thing that I want to say, misconception of being a vegan. And if you're a true vegan, like I said, I started out as whole food plant-based. So, and then I'll explain that. So I had to learn a diet. Okay, I had to learn what to eat and just the things that the body needed. So that was very important. And that's one reason why I liked the whole food plant-based diet, was that I had to learn about what I was eating. To whereas before I would just eat hot dogs, I would eat hamburgers. I would just pretty much eat so I wouldn't get hungry or just to taste. And that's the number one thing, is that I think a lot of people eat just to taste the food because they like hamburgers, they like French fries, and it feels so good and it tastes. But that's one of my I guess I can say pet peeves about eating meat, is that you just eat to taste it, okay? And then after you taste it, and after you eat it, I'm saying from my viewpoint, I didn't get anything back, okay? After I ate the hamburger and the French fries, which was very good, I didn't get anything back. I didn't feel like relieved. I didn't feel like I did something good. I didn't feel like... So anyway, so that's why I was reading this book. That's another thing, okay? So I started, it's kind of getting off point there, but so I started... I went to a Whole Food. They had a Whole Food store, okay? And that was the first thing I did, is I bought the things that they said I needed, like this, that, so many things that the nutritionist, because Juliana Heber is a nutritionist, that you need, that your body needs, okay? And there's so many points I want to bring up, but I'm kind of, I don't want to make it too long. So then I started studying about, like I said, I started studying about being a vegan, and that was important to me. But like I said, I went to the Whole Food store, and this one thing I want to explain to you, this is one point that I want to explain, is about warehouse. I came up with this thing about what's your warehouse as far as your storage. You might think that your storage, as far as any diet is concerned, you might think that your storage is what you have in your refrigerator or what you have in your cabinet, food cabinets or whatever. But I come up with the concept of this: your storage is what you have in your mind the cycle of eating that you have. So what I had to do was I had to build a cycle of what I wanted to eat, because you can't come up with new things all the time. And plus you're working, so you have to have a system, like for instance, okay, like if you eat meat, you say this meat, this I'm gonna eat chicken on Monday, I'm gonna eat, and that's how you do. But you have your, what I call a storage or warehouse. I forgot how I put it before. It's in your mind. It's the things that you have, that you eat in your diet, is your storage. So what I had to do is I had to come up with, this is my point of view, this is something that I feel I came up with. It's like I had to come up with something that my diet, okay? Because it's more than a diet. Being a vegan is more than a diet. It's just I can't say it's a diet, because you eat everything you want to, but you don't eat meat. So it's not like a diet, but there's a diet inside of being whole food plant-based. And I wouldn't say whole food plant-based because that's how it started. So anyway, so like I said, I went to the whole food store and I bought all these things while I was reading this book. And then from those things I came up with, oh, I like these beans. I want to have the beans and rice. I like the potatoes. I'm going to put that in my storage. So when I go to the store, these are the things I'm going to buy. When I go low on these things, these are the things that I want in my diet. But the first time, I think it's good to buy a whole bunch of things, So anyway, then I had my diet. I had my whole food diet. So whole food plant-based. And I kept saying whole food plant-based, and then I shortened it to WFPB, but still didn't help me with translating it to other people. So I wrote Juliana Hever, and she sent me an email right back. And I was saying, everybody's saying vegan. Should I say vegan? Then I was saying I was a herbivore. But she said, yes, it's all right to say you're vegan because people understand that. So then I just said, okay, I'm a vegan, and I liked it after that. So, although I started out whole food plant-based, and that's really the basis of my diet, is whole food plant-based, but it's vegan also because there are whole food plant-based with meat and stuff like that. So I wanted to clear up everything by saying I'm a vegan. And another thing too, these are things I'm clearing up so people can understand how a vegan really is just a normal person. So we talked about the whole food plant-based, and then I switched to saying that I was a vegan. And so am I going to go to another point or whatever? There was one time that I was at work. I'm still getting into this, how I totally became vegan. There's so many points I want to come up with, but I can't get them all. One person told me about the proteins, okay? So, and this I'm telling you so you can see that it's really things that you have to know, really. The proteins, okay. When you're a vegan, you make your own proteins, okay? You have so many amino acids. There's amino acids that your body has to have, but your body makes the protein from amino acids. One thing that taught me this was, first of all, there was one girl at work, and she told me, you just can't eat this. You got to eat other things to make your full proteins. I didn't really understand her too much, but I used it. It also said it in the book. I think that's why I got the Juliana Hever book. But as far as amino acids, I wanted to explain to you one time because my body was changing and I felt like something was wrong, but really something was right. Sometimes we think something's wrong, but it's something right. And I explained it in another video, but I want to explain it here because this clears up a lot of things. I went to the clinic, okay, because I wasn't feeling well. I got this like adrenaline, and I didn't know what it was. And they checked me out totally, and everything was all right. And they didn't tell me the doctor didn't tell me this until they checked me over everything and took my blood and everything. And she goes, when you change, and I thought somebody was going to tell me, you have to eat meat, you have to eat meat. But everybody that saw me and checked me out, not one person said that you had to eat meat. Now, which I was surprised. I kept saying, I don't eat meat, I don't eat meat. And then the last doctor told me, she goes, when you don't get meat from an animal provides protein, full protein. But when you become a vegan, your body has to make its own protein. So that's what my body was getting used to make its own protein. When it first does that, it kind of flips you out because it's some kind of adrenaline, you'll notice it. But there's nothing wrong. You could tell there's nothing wrong. Actually, it feels kind of good, but you're scared about everything. And so I understood that I was making my amino acids, or however, my body was making its own protein. But it doesn't happen when you eat meat because the animal makes complete proteins for you. Okay, so that's another thing that I wanted to clear up about being a vegan, that it's something nutritional, the things that we do or the way that we think. Another thing too is that after I eat, I'm looking from my viewpoint, you get satisfied. It's like I get a euphoria after I eat a meal that is totally vegan. I'm always eating vegan, but you feel like a euphoria. It's not, and another thing about it is your taste buds are different because you don't eat just for taste. Okay, like I was saying, one thing about my friends, okay, they always think I just eat vegetables, but I can't just eat vegetables because it's no calories. A vegan needs calories. So it's me as being a vegan, I don't eat as many vegetables, but when I do eat them, they do assist me because I'm not eating meat, which are going to drown out the vegetables anyway. So, but vegetables and fruits, as me being a vegan, and what I learned, and everybody has to learn, is that the vegetables are very potent. Okay, there's vegetables which are very potent, and they're like, to me, medicine. Okay, I just say kind of like medicine. The reason why I say that, because you don't want to eat them all the time, like broccoli. I know it has a powerful things in it, so I used to eat broccoli a lot, but then your taste buds are changed because your taste buds kind of tell you what you need, your body needs also. Because when you're a vegan, you don't really eat for like a pleasure, like just to enjoy your taste buds. Everything changes. You don't eat for that. You eat, it's just different, okay? You eat for the taste, yes, and you want things to taste good, but it also connects to your stomach. And when I eat, I feel very good, and I'm very satisfied. My stomach is very satisfied. So I kind of communicate my mind and my stomach, So that's another thing about being a vegan. So we just don't eat vegetables because it's not really, you can't just eat vegetables because it doesn't have calories. It doesn't have as many calories. Not just that, but they're very potent. You can't continually eat carrots. You can't continually eat apples. You can't continually eat, you can eat a certain amount, but with our taste buds, I don't know if everybody else feels, but me as being a vegan, it will cut off. You will feel like I can't eat any more carrots, or I can't eat any more broccoli, or I can't eat any more celery. It kind of tells you, kind of like a gut feeling, So we don't just eat vegetables, okay? Like for instance, in my storage, my mental storage of my diet, I have beans. I like all different kinds of beans. And you get the feeling of the different kinds of beans, okay? To me, different kinds of beans are like, it's just like 7, 8 different kinds of beans, okay? Like I eat like a lot of lentils. I love lima beans. That to me is the best, and it has a lot of nice juice in the lima beans. And then I eat my beans with rice sometimes. And these are the amino acids that you need. You need to mix things with being a vegan also. Um, you don't. A lot of people think that you're going to get a lot of gas. Another thing, they think that you get a lot of gas and you fart all over the place all the time. But it's not true, because the thing about it is your body gets used to it. I mean, I get gas, but I don't. Not all the time, you know. I mean, it's not like you would think. Okay, like gas, like all the time. It just doesn't. It just doesn't happen once you get used to. Once you're in your diet. I drink soy milk. I like chocolate soy. Okay, so that's how it's clearing about as far as vegetables. We just don't eat vegetables. Okay, and and another thing, the main point I want to make is about our. This thing is going along. It's about our diet. If you see a vegan, they are studying what they ate. They know what to eat. I mean, that's another thing too. It's like they think about what they eat. You know, it's important, the diet. It's important what they put in their body. Everything that they put in their body, they know, pretty much know what's going on, okay? What it is. Or sometimes they trust, you know. Also, my friend told me about, for the vegans who are listening to this, my friend told me about the most expensive, I'm not saying it's a very expensive restaurant, but a chef told me that one of the best restaurants in the world, which is in New York, they changed to vegan. And I want to go there. It's in New York. I forgot, Park, I guess, or something like that. But they changed everything and they changed over to vegan. So anyway, that's a good point as far as being the vegans. I want to tell the vegans that. So, is there anything else I want to say about the misconceptions of being a vegan? It's not strange. It's not weird. The reason why I'm saying it's not weird is because they study what they need. If you're a vegan, you have to study what you need, or else you're going to get sick. Another thing too is, okay, if you're in a bad area, what I'm saying, you're in a bad position. Like I was in a bad position when I was a vegan, and I couldn't get to like all the things that I need, so I had to eat a hamburger. I mean, I had to go to McDonald's. If you don't, let me tell you something. If you're skinny and you're losing weight and you're in a bad time, I was a vegan, but I ate a hamburger, but it didn't do anything, because like when you're like in a bad situation or starving, your body's gonna tear it up. It's going to go in a different. It's going to go in a totally different manner as far as when you're eating food. It's going to burn that food up like crazy. It's going to break it down more than it would if you weren't. I mean, what I'm trying to say, if you're in a bad situation and you're not doing well and you have to eat a piece of meat or something, where you just have to do it because you need calories. If you don't get calories, you get sick, and your body's not going to look at it as, it's not going to get sick from the hamburger or whatever you eat, because you're starving, or you need the food, you need the calories. When your body needs calories, it devours first your fat. I mean, so it will devour your fat, like, and you get all this energy. But if a vegan is in a bad situation, and I'm almost sure it happens to everybody, because, you know, everything is meat. And you go to McDonald's, you eat a hamburger, and I know they feel bad, but they don't feel the same way as messing up their diet, because their body's going to break it down more than it would ever break down anything else, because they need the calories. It's like putting something into, let me see, hydrogen. It's going to break it down more than what you think. So when, yes, if you go through bad time, I'm saying from my viewpoint, which hasn't been too many times. I think like one time I was really doing really bad, and I ate hamburger, but I didn't feel bad because it was like I knew I was still a vegan, but I knew I needed the calories, or else you get sick. And once you get sick, there's no turning back. So that's another misconception, is that if you're a vegan and you get hungry and you're starving, you're not going to eat a McDonald's hamburger. No, that's wrong. And it didn't affect my diet, because when I got back on my feet, it didn't last that long. But when I got back on my feet, I went back to my diet. I didn't feel anything different. But when I'm in my diet and I'm doing all right, and I eat something that's vegetarian, like with milk or eggs, the taste, you can feel it. Some people get sick, but you can feel it automatically that this is something that your body doesn't want. So yes, when you're vegan and you eat some kind of meat or something like that, not meat, please. I mean, something with egg or something with milk in it, you can taste it. Your body can feel it automatically. Your taste buds can feel it automatically. Because your taste buds hook with your stomach, and you can feel it in your stomach. You feel really bad. I've done it several times because I eat a Pop-Tart or something like that in the morning. Some Pop-Tarts are vegan, but I'm almost sure one of them is. But usually you'll feel bad, okay? But I pretty much stick to my diet. But anyway, this is just to encourage. I wanted to do some snacks, some vegan snacks that vegans can have, and I want to do that. But this is an important one because I want everybody the people who are not vegans, I want them to see this just like normal people. But they're nutritionists. They're their own nutritionists. So when you see a vegan, it's not being strange. And also, I want to put this point out: vegans is raw vegetables is not vegan. I mean, that's another different area. I like my vegetables cooked very well. One time I said I want my vegetables cooked well, and the person burnt them. They thought I was talking about well. No, when you cook vegetables well, it means that they're tender. It doesn't mean that they burn them, okay? I mean, it was so funny. They said, what do you want? And they always think that I want vegetables, which is true, but it's not the only thing that vegans eat. But anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed this one. I really like to get back and to do some cooking, some tips on being a vegan. Also, there's another point. This is a very important point. A lot of people think that vegans are all are political. Okay, no, I was not a vegan for those reasons at all. Okay. Although I appreciate them, that's not why I'm almost sure a lot of vegans are not vegans because of the animal rights, okay? Although, I'm sorry. Although they appreciate that, okay? But there's one thing about being a vegan, which is that after a while, you get sensitive to animals. Like, for instance, you don't want to see animals eaten, or you just get sensitive to that. And like when somebody says they want a hamburger, a vegan is going to think about the meat because they don't eat meat. So when you say you want chicken, they see a chicken, okay? That's another thing. When you say you want a hamburger, they think about the cow. It's just because they don't link it to a taste or something like that, so that's another point. It's just that they're not all hooked to animal, but they get sensitive. You get very sensitive to those subjects, meaning that you kind of lean toward being animal rights vegan. You just lean toward that. And I guess that's all the points I wanted to make. I knew they kept popping up in my head, all the things that I wanted to say. I guess there was one point that I wanted to make, but I don't think I'm gonna come up with it. I know I told you about the vegan rights, the animal rights, and how, that's, you just lean toward that concept. And I also said, when you say you want a duck, I think about ducks in the park. Okay. Oh, this is one point I wanted to say. Yes, there's sometimes that because I work in a restaurant, I don't feel bad about cutting meat. I just don't have any feeling whatsoever as far as cutting the meat or the things I have to do with meat. I just don't feel it. I don't, I mean, I don't get a taste for it or anything, but I don't think about it. I just numb myself. Now, as far as, I wanted to say sometimes it's so weird. You see, chopped ham is cooked and everything, and you not that I want it, but you just remember about the niceness, when you ate it, but then I go, no, I'm not gonna eat it. But it's a memory. You get memories, nice memories. For instance, bacon. You see bacon sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes you see bacon and you go, oh, and you remember you used to have a hamburger with bacon and eggs. But some vegans get that mixed up. They think that that they're urging for this meat, but it's not true. It's more of a memory. It's oh, I remember when. So I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I wanted to say that it's really a habit for me as far as being a vegan. I really enjoy it, and it's really a habit. And it's a hobby. I don't want to say a habit. I'm in a hobby. And I just enjoy being a vegan. So I hope everybody's out there having a great time. And maybe you can think about being a whole food plant-based. But remember, they'll call you vegan, but just your whole food plant-based. Thank you.